Hey there, ever been in a coding interview and got asked, what's the difference between var, let, and const? Well, today I'm going to show you the best way to nail that answer. And stick around because I'll also tell you which one you should be using most of the time. Alright, let's break it down. If you can see from here, we are going to be talking about three distinctions that are mainly used when you're talking about these three keywords. The first is going to be hoisting, the second is going to be redeclarations, and then the third is going to be scoping. How do they differ in these categories? So the first we're going to begin with val. I'm going to give you like this example in a short way so that we get to go quickly. So this is an example that we're going to be using. So val, it's been around since the beginning of JavaScript. When you declare a variable with val, it gets hoisted at the top of its function scope. That means it's accessible before it's actually defined in the code. But there is a catch. Val has function scope, not block scope, which can lead to some tricky bugs. So let's try to test this and then I'll show you what I mean by this. So as you can see here, we are trying to access, this is a function called example. I declared the function called example. I'm trying to console log the A way before A is defined. This is what I was talking about hoisting, way before everything. So if I come here and then I try to console to run this program. If I try to run this program, let me first call this or invoke. When I try to run this program, you're going to see something which is strange. If we try to access a variable way before it's through the declaration, we're going to see that when we try that, we're going to get undefined. It means that val, val variables or variables that are declared with val keyword are hoisted. It means that they move to the top of the scope and then they are initialized with undefined. When you try to access them, you get undefined. No error, you get undefined. It means that they are hoisted. The second thing that I want you to realize is about redeclaration. If I try to do val a and then try to do like 70, you know, essentially we think we'll get an error, right? No, we don't, because val is redeclared. And then we come to the other third category, which is scoping. Val is function scoped. It means that when you try to enclose this particular, when we try to redeclare this variable name with the type identifier a here with 20, you might think this is wrong. What do you expect that this a is going to print? Okay, let's try that. When you run this, you find that instead of everything else, the other a, the last a, is going to print 20. Okay, you say, okay, what happened? This is in a different scope than this. Why do we get 20? It's because val is within a function scope. It means that it cares in everything within here. It's not confined within this scope. So this one can be accessed even outside of the block scope that it's in. So this is essentially what we talk about val. It's hoisted, declared, and it's function scoped. Let's go back. Let's go to the second one. Let was introduced in ES6. Let is much more reliable. From my own experience, I can say that. It's block scoped, which means it's only available within the block you defined it in, whether that's in an if statement, a loop, or a function, and no more weird hoisting issues. Believe me. Let me give you a quick example for you to be able to see how it works. So, this is an example. We declare a function with an identifier example, okay, and then we declare a variable called let, which is equals to a, and then uh, we do open a condition, and then this is scope within a function. This is a function scope. This is an if statement block scope. We declare a with 20, console log a, and then console log a here. And then I want to try to show you something here. If I try to run this program, first remember always to always invoke a function. If I do this, run this, you see that we have 2010. This is essentially expected, right? This is what we've been waiting for us to be able to see. So if you see from here, you can be able to see that we're getting 20 and 10, which means that this means that as the program is running, it calls synchronously, line by line. It comes first console log, it console logs a, which is 20, and then console logs 10. That's what we're getting. It means when it comes with let, you know exactly where your variables live. It keeps your code clean and avoids those tricky bugs. So with let, it cannot be b redeclared. Let me give you an example. If I do a and then I do like 49, right? If I do this, well, you see, we're getting an error. So this identifier, this is a syntax error. Error has been declared. It cannot be redeclared. You have to point on that. A's cannot let a cannot be variables declared with a cannot be redeclared. So here, this is the thing. It has hoisting, which means it's hoisted, but the thing here is it's hoisted but it's not initialized with undefined, like the way it happens for val. So trying to access it way before its declaration, it gives you an error, a reference error. That's what first. And then on redeclaration, it's not possible because you get a syntax error. And then for the third, scoping, it's block scoped. This is not interfered by the outer scoped variables, which means this is a variable itself and this is a variable itself. That's a good thing about that. So, and finally, we are going for the last but not least, const. Just like that, it's block scoped. But there's a key difference once you assign a value to a const variable. You can't reassign it. It's constant, just like the name suggests. So I'm going to give you like a quick code example on screen for you to be able to see. So here's something I want to show you. You can see here, I'm trying to get to declare a const a which is equal to 10, and then redeclare a and then make it equal to 10, 20. Okay, this is wrong. In a sense, let me first run for you to be able to see. If you run this program here, you will see that what you're going to get is type error, assignment to constant variable. This is not acceptable. But there's a gotcha here. When it comes to primitive types, these are strings, numbers, booleans, all these numbers which are not complex in that per se. I can say that these cannot be declared. But now while you can't reassign const, you can still mutate objects or arrays declared with const. Just remember, the difference to the object or array stays constant. So in this case, let me give you another example. When you're trying to redeclare this, it's not possible because this a is served as a value within the memory of our program when you're trying to run this program. But when we come here and then try to do something like this one, okay, when we try to do something like this one here, this is an array, 1, 2, 3, and then we're trying to push 4. Do we expect that this is going to bring an error? Let's see. We command this one because this is buggy, this is wrong, and then when we try to run this, you'll see that we're having something that's totally acceptable. Let me try to console log for you to be able to see that this is actually possible and it's allowed. Because if you remember objects, when we are saving our objects in our memory, they're not saved as values. We save a reference to the object. So we're able to access the object and then be able to detect, add, modify, delete, or do anything on that object, even though it's a const. So, in going to the conclusion, there is something I forgot to ask to show you that acts weird in a way that when you're dealing with asynchronous operations, that comes to show you something that why, let, and const in this manner can be a good thing. Anyways, before I go ahead of myself, I want to tell you, like, finally, what I will give you as an advice, the best advice, is for you to use const by default. It, it it just it signals your intent that the variable shouldn't be reassigned, making your code easier to understand. So use let when you know you need to reassign a value, like in loops or conditions. And honestly, forget about val. So it's old school, and using let or const is just better practice. So let me give you a short example. When you're dealing with something like loops, and then within there you have an asynchronous operation like this one here. So I want to ask you a question. What do you think this answer is going to be? Most of you might say, okay, this is going to be the normal thing we know, 1, 2, 3, 4. But 1, 2, 3, and then you'll be surprised that what you're going to see is totally different from what you're thinking. This is going to be 3, 3, 3, 3, because this is registered in a global scope, which means that once this gets to be run, because this is asynchronous, this is default for it to be run once all the codes within the synchronous code has finished. Once this gets to be run, it will find that all this has been done. But let me show you something which is good, which encourages you to use let and const. If I do this here, you'll see that our code will go as normal 012. So I would advise you to go with let and const since it's better. So I hope this helps you to crash your next interview. If you found this useful, hit that like button and subscribe for more quick coding tips. Happy coding.